From the opinion pages of the Wall Street Journal, this is Potomac Watch.
Chaos in Congress again as Elon Musk and Donald Trump blow up a bipartisan agreement to fund the American government through mid-March and avoid a Friday night government shutdown. What does this mean for House Speaker Mike Johnson, who put together the deal, and the ability of Republicans to govern when they run the entire government next year? And should Republicans just cut out the middleman and maybe make Elon Musk Speaker of the House? That's our topic for today on Potomac Watch, the opinion page podcast of the Wall Street Journal. I'm Paul Gigot with Kim Strassel and Alicia Finley. And, no Congress seems to finish these days without a spectacle, Kim.
Oh, my gosh.
So why did Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, his partner in the Department of Government Efficiency under Trump, why'd they blow this up? What did they want?
So here's what was in the agreement that was prior to this blow up heading to being passed. This was a continuing resolution to keep the government funded until March 14th. But as a price of getting that through the House and the Senate, where Mike Johnson, the Speaker, would have to rely on Democrats to do it in the House because Republicans won't vote for a CR. Too many Republicans wouldn't vote for a continuing resolution. He had to add in a bunch of things Democrats wanted. So there's $100 billion in disaster aid, something that some Republicans wanted too. $10 billion in economic aid to farmers. There's a farm bill extension. There are changes to healthcare law. There's a new requirement that you can sell E15 ethanol all year long. It was a Christmas tree in the end. And I appreciate that Elon Musk, like many Americans who are worried about spending in debt, looked at this and said, what the heck are we doing given our debt load? And I get it, but the math of this is a lot more complicated than he is giving credit. Musk spent yesterday on Twitter lobbing hand grenades at this product and saying, you know what, just shut the government down. We've got 33 days until the inauguration. Nothing bad will go wrong. Critical services will continue and we'll fix it the way we want to fix it when we come in.
Well, yeah, good luck with that because it still takes 60 Senate votes to pass a budget and Republicans would only have 53 then. And they'll only have, a 4-seat majority in January. And by the way, Biden's still president till January 20th. So, this is a case of it's easy to throw bombs into the room, watch things explode, have some fun watching the carnage. But then what happens? You can't get things done, Alicia. So I'm always puzzled by Republicans who think that they can make statements like this and then blame Mike Johnson, the Speaker, for giving away the store when they won't even vote for a bill that would give Johnson more leverage with Democrats.
Right. So I think there are several problems here. One is that House Republicans have a narrow majority, which gives leverage to certain members. And we've seen this before on blocking deals or blocking increases in debt ceiling and such because they have that leverage. But in the result being that Democrats end up gaining more leverage and can insert their own priorities and increase spending even more. I think the frustration with Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy is they come from a world of business. They don't really understand how government runs or let alone Congress. Businesses don't run like democracies. And in Congress, you actually have to get a majority of your members or majority of the House on board for any kind of actions or votes. So, yes, I'm sympathetic to the complaint that this is a pork-filled bill. There is a lot of unnecessary spending and there are a lot of policy changes. Kim, and you rattled off some, such as on the PBMs. In an ideal world, all these bills would be passed separately through a regular order. Same thing with an appropriations. You wouldn't just throw everything in at the end of the year. And going back historically, there have been unintended consequences of those policies and later have to be fixed. But the problem is that you can't do that with the narrow majorities in the House and with certain members holding things up. And then now Donald Trump throwing a wrench into things. You just end up giving away more power to Chuck Schumer and Joaquin Jeffries to extract their own demands.
We're going to take a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about whether Mike Johnson, House Speaker, really deserves the blame here when we come back. Welcome back. I'm Paul Gigot here on Potomac Watch with my colleagues Kim Strassel and Alicia Finley. Let's listen to Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic House leader, turn the screws on the GOP.
House Republicans have now unilaterally decided to break a bipartisan agreement that they made. House Republicans have been ordered to shut down the government and hurt everyday Americans all across this country. House Republicans will now own any harm that is visited upon the American people that results from a government shutdown or worse.
Well, that's fairly hyperbolic in the sense that the government will shut down if there's no deal to fund it at midnight on Friday going into Saturday. So you'd have the weekend where government isn't open anyway. So there wouldn't be any real immediate harm, though there would be a lot more fires to put out if the shutdown would extend all the way until January 20th when Donald Trump takes over. But that's highly unlikely because they all want to get out of town and nobody wants to get blamed for that. But it does look, Kim, like this CR is going down, which means some of the policy in it will probably go down if Republicans insist on a clean bill. And the disaster relief is going to pass. And Trump said he's for that. He also said he's for the $10 billion for the farm bill. So, he can't be too concerned about the deficit and spending, and he's never made that a priority in his first term. So is the real goal here to get the Congress this term to pass an increase in the debt ceiling? Because they'll need to do that next year in any case. Does he just want to put it on somebody else's watch, not his?
Yeah, that's the new element that got added in. So my reporting and understanding is that while Trump had floated this notion of raising the debt ceiling to Speaker Mike Johnson in the past, Johnson didn't take it up for a couple of reasons. And that's where things are going to get tricky. So the debt ceiling right now, we're due to hit it sometime next summer. So it isn't pressing at the moment. And here's the politics behind this, which is what's going to make this tough. Now Trump is demanding that you do it. The thing is that when you want to raise the debt ceiling, he's going to need Democratic votes for that. And the price that Democrats are going to extract for that will be high. They're going to ask for more spending or something else that really matters to them. Now, you can go to Republicans and see if you could actually get everybody, all the people who are on the record who said that they won't on principle vote for a CR. There are probably 30 or so Republicans who have said on principle, we refuse to vote for continuing resolutions because we refuse to put the good seal of approval on a process that isn't regular order. We haven't done regular appropriations. This offends us. We will not vote for a CR. You can go and see if you could get them to vote for a CR. But then you say vote for a CR that raises the debt ceiling. That's the other thing they hate even more than voting for a CR.
Right. And then you still have to go to Chuck Schumer.
You still have to go to Chuck Schumer.
Hand and say, please, you're still in charge of the Senate. So, what do you want, Chuck? And as you say, it's not going to be for the price of lunch. It's going to be a lot of money.
And the weird dynamic here is the price for Democrats for raising the debt ceiling is more spending. The price for House Freedom Caucus Republicans of raising the debt ceiling is spending cuts. How do you make all that work together? I mean, I don't know that there's a lot of thought here. And by the way, the folks who think that Elon Musk and the president are out there doing this because they care about the deficit and the debt, I mean, I think Elon Musk does. But all the people that are doing this on the principle that they don't like all this spending, I think they're going to be sorely disappointed that this bill blew up in the end with what comes in the end because it's going to be more spending.
And just on the spending point, Alicia, at the same time, the House and the Senate are trying to put together this CR substitute now. The Senate is prepared to pass a bill that would expand Social Security benefits for public employees in state and local governments across the country that will cost about $200 billion over 10 years. So Donald Trump's not opposed to that. The House already passed that. So the Republican House passed that, and the Senate has, I think, 12 or so Republicans who are in favor of it, in addition to the Democrats. So if you really cared about spending, you'd stop that.
Right. And I think part of the reason why they passed this after the election, the House did, is because it was a payoff to the firefighters unions, which declined to endorse in the election. And Trump, we saw this with his labor pick, Lori Chavez-Ramir, that he wanted to at least pay the unions back for not endorsing him. It's a little bizarre, but I think that was the thinking among some House members. But I think some House members just really misunderstand this issue. The unions, Randy Weingarten and others, have really misconstrued it and suggested that government workers are somehow getting shortchanged by the system and aren't receiving the benefits that they deserve. There's nothing further from the truth. In fact, many currently under the system actually receive more benefits than they would normally be entitled as private workers. And this Social Security Fairness Act that the House passed and Schumer plans to whip through this week, or hopes to, would actually increase their benefits even more. And you said it to the tune of around $196 billion over 10 years. That's just the 10-year window, by the way. So it would actually be much more going forward. And just to put that change in perspective, raising the retirement age to 70 would only actually reap about half as much savings. So this is not exactly propitious for the next Congress being able to restrain their spending. Republicans are just as bad and culpable as Democrats in spending too much and in increasing these entitlements.